the gleaming star sky is keeping the cosmic world on tenterhooks. For the first time ever, specialists have now succeeded in making a detailed representation of a star beyond the Milky Way. Incredibly, the scientists found that the distant, giant star is shockingly surrounded by an egg-shaped dust cover, and that it has much more in common with the supergiant Betelgeuse than previously expected. But we shouldn't forget that the stunning star observations of these days are not always recorded exclusively by cosmic experts. Sometimes, they are also made by simple amateur astronomers, who then share their unique pictures with the rest of the world. It doesn't necessarily always have to be NASA's super-advanced instruments. After all, who needs a James Webb telescope when you can have a 13-year-old's YouTube video instead? What might sound somewhat unexpected at first reminds us in the moment that it is also possible for us, the typical consumer, to wonder at the wondrous designs of the universe in their intricate details, conveniently without a space expert's profession. Uploaded by user Android Craftsman in September 2011, the telescope image shows us a brilliant galaxy that shines almost vividly. But which object are we really seeing here in detail? Well, the video of Sirius shows us something like the most brilliant star in the whole night sky. This amounts to nothing less than a shining design that reaches an obvious brightness of less than 1.46 magnitude. Well, or at least one of the two, because rigorously speaking, Sirius is a binary star system that consists of a main sequence star of spectral type A1 and a much smaller and dimmer white dwarf. However, despite its limited size, Sirius B, which is almost the size of Earth, holds remarkable significance in the realm of cosmic research. No wonder, after all, no other white dwarf is as close to the solar system as this one, making Sirius B one of the most intensely studied white dwarfs, which has already helped scientists describe this otherwise very small type of aging star. But observing Sirius B can be incredibly tricky at times. As already mentioned, there is also Sirius A, which literally eclipses its humble companion in every way. Found just 8.7 light-years away in the constellation Canis Major, or the Big Dog, we are dealing with a true celestial youth. While our Sun has been around for 4.6 billion years, Sirius A first saw the light of the astronomical world only 225 to 250 million years ago. However, despite its youth, our central star is clearly beaten by its celestial partner. On one hand, there is the fact that Sirius A is about 2.1 times more massive and 1.7 times bigger than the Sun, and on the other hand, it shines about 25 times brighter than our source of heat and life. No wonder Sirius is sometimes mistaken for a UFO with this brilliant background. It's clear that the brilliant ruler of the night sky was not only added to the star maps yesterday with the help of the most current telescopes, but has played a significant role even in ancient Egypt. When Sirius first appeared at dawn, the inhabitants of the land of the pharaohs knew that the time of the Nile flood was approaching. But if we now draw a boundary from ancient times to the present and recall the YouTube video, the striking star blazing also strikes a chord again. There's no doubt that this appears especially magnificent in such close proximity, but in truth, it appears so striking to the naked eye that it often leads to UFO reports. In 2022 alone, Sirius was reported multiple times as a mysterious radio object. But what is the background to this intriguing scene? Well, where extraterrestrial spaceships have become outdated as an explanation, the Earth's air must serve instead, because the starlight must pass through it, refracted. Furthermore, because Sirius is an especially bright star, its optical impression can sometimes appear as though it were shimmering brightly or even moving. In the case of Sirius, there is also the fact that it doesn't rise very high overhead. Since it stays relatively low over the horizon, where air disturbance is greater, its alleged shimmer is increased again. If you've now been inspired to see the UFO star with your own eyes, we have good news for you. At the beginning of December, Sirius is visible from around 10 p.m., and at the end of the month, it even appears in the eastern night sky at around 8 p.m., when you can also notice its blazing color change. The first close-up of another cosmic star, if you like Sirius, even appears close enough to touch in the old YouTube video. Of course, the world of such interesting close-ups isn't limited to amateur stargazers. Thanks to truly improving telescopes, It has also become possible for scientists to capture several stars and even exoplanets in detail. Recently, in this context, what was once just a bright mark of light was transformed into a multi-layered, enormous understanding. But unfortunately, such close-up pictures are typically only obtained from celestial bodies that are both close and large, like the massive Betelgeuse or the incredibly famous pulsar star. However, when it came to objects that are farther away from Earth, scientists were left searching in the dark for a long time. Well, until recently, that is, because researchers have now, for the first time ever, managed to photograph a star that is located far outside our Milky Way. And we mean truly far. Let's remind ourselves, Sirius is located about 8.7 light-years away from our home planet, and with the knowledge that a light-year is about 9.46 trillion kilometers, we understand that this is a distance of no less than 82.3 trillion kilometers. A significant distance, but one that pales into insignificance when we consider that the star caught on camera is, in fact, 160,000 light-years from us. Known by its scientific name WG64, we're dealing with a red supergiant in the Large Magellanic Cloud, which has been the subject of extensive research in the past. Also known as the Behemoth star, the celestial giant weighs in at an estimated 16 to 22 solar masses, while being nearly 3 times bigger than our source of heat and light. Moreover, past observations had already shown that WG64 was shedding huge amounts of gas and dust from its swollen core. In detail, such a loss of mass through an enhanced stellar wind suggests that the cosmic explosion of the red supergiant is drawing nearer. In an astronomical context, the word approaching means that it will probably take between 1,000 and 10,000 years for it to exit the galactic stage in a violent explosion. So, there's plenty of time to take a few pictures of the aging star. And this is precisely the accomplishment that the team led by Kayanaka of André Espejo College in Chile has now achieved for the first time ever. To do this, the scientists used the gravity instrument on the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile, with the instrument using data in the near and mid-infrared range for the purpose. The result was a heavy picture that confirmed what had already been suspected. The hidden red supergiant is indeed surrounded by a huge dust ring, leaving no doubt that it is approaching the final phase of its stellar life. At the same time, the image also revealed that the dust and gas envelope has a completely different shape than previous models and observations suggested. Shockingly, it is egg-shaped. Researchers are still pondering how this elongated shape came about. One theory suggests that the star ejected the material from its core unevenly during a particularly large emission. However, the egg shape may also be due to the influence of a previously unknown companion star. In any case, WG64 looks similar to Betelgeuse, but this was by no means the only surprise the star photograph had in store for the scientists. In fact, a closer inspection showed that WG64 has changed drastically over the past 10 years, or more specifically, that its near-infrared radiation has increased significantly during this time. The scientists explained this by the enormous dust masses that have formed around the star during this time. Interestingly, this also makes WG64 reminiscent of Betelgeuse. And while the giant star belonging to the Milky Way is 3 times the diameter and 3 times the brightness of the Sun, its extragalactic partner first combines the ejected material into simple grains of aluminum oxide and magnesium silicates. Once silicates containing iron have selected the dust grains, the grains absorb more radiation, which eventually increases the near-infrared radiation produced by the heated dust, while the actual star appears increasingly darker in invisible light. And here, too, scientists draw a comparison with Betelgeuse, which has also undergone extreme fluctuations in brightness in the past. In fact, there was even speculation that this might be a harbinger of an impending cosmic explosion. But now, most scientists also attribute this development to the effects of a dust cover. However, WG64's case is somewhat unique. Researchers emphasize that this supergiant is one of the most powerful known of its kind and that any unusual change could be a further step toward a cosmic explosion. The extraordinary change in your subscription status will help you never miss another video from us again, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button now to stay up to date from now on. We'll see you soon.